Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel where we discuss all things narcissism, and this video is going to be about some things that put a narcissist at a disadvantage to those around them. The narcissist's weaknesses. We all have our weaknesses, we all have our strengths and our weaknesses. When it comes to a narcissistic person, their very weaknesses are usually tied into the 9 criteria of the disorder. So one of their first weaknesses is their envy towards others. Narcissistic people are incredibly envious of other people's looks, other people's perceived look, other people's careers, other people's health, other people's wealth, other people's families, other people's holidays, other people's possessions, whatever it is that that individual narcissistic person is envious of. Now, we can all have those pangs of jealousy. However, within those pangs of jealousy, we can wish we had something for ourselves, yet we wouldn't want to take it away from the other person. Narcissistic people tend to believe that the other person doesn't deserve something, so they seek to either take it from that other person or destroy it for that other person. Yet there's always going to be somebody around them with something that they want. So their envy actually causes their internal misery. They can't be happy for other people's happiness. They can't be happy for other people's success. It hurts them. When somebody achieves something, it hurts them. When somebody buys something, it hurts them. It offends them, which is why they often seek to pull other people down to feel better about their own internal misery. And there's nothing you can do to save them from this. It's usually they don't recognise this within themselves. They go all out to do stuff, believing that other people are envious of them because that's how they feel about other people. That sense of entitlement. So narcissistic people believe that they are entitled to have things their own way. Therefore, they get offended when people say no to them. That's their own internal dialogue, their own internal makeup. All you have to do is say no to a narcissist and they get offended. It hurts them. It criticises who they are as a person. They can decide that they want a meal at a restaurant and they just decide at the last minute, and the majority of people will have booked ahead knowing the restaurant is busy. So when the narcissist rocks up and expects a table and they don't get one, and somebody who has gone to the effort to phone to make sure they've got a table gets served straight away, the narcissist gets offended because it's questioned their sense of entitlement. Well, why are they getting a table and I'm not? What's more important about them? What's so special about them? It's nothing special about the other person. The other person just had the good manners to phone in advance and book the table to make sure that there was one available. Narcissistic people believe that they're entitled to just get what they want. When it comes to a narcissistic person, their entitlement causes them so much resentment within themselves. Narcissistic people can be and often are jealous of their own children, which is why you can often hear them say things such as, well, you do it for the children. When you say no to them, they're going to try and guilt trip you, and it doesn't go through when you try to explain things to them that the children are a minor and need the help and the support, and they're a fully grown adult who's capable of doing something for themselves because they believe people should do things for them. That lack of empathy. Within their lack of empathy, yes, it enables them to hurt people in some of the most horrific ways. However, they actually hurt themselves with their lack of empathy because they can never get that true connection with another person. They never get that genuine connection with another person. They find it incredibly difficult to maintain a healthy relationship with anybody. We all know it's difficult to maintain relationships, healthy relationships. However, for a narcissistic person, this is near impossible due to their lack of empathy. a belief that they are special. Therefore, they struggle to take on board helpful advice. We all need a helping hand now and again. We all need a bit of advice. We all need that constructive criticism. And yes, when you've come away from a narcissistic relationship and somebody tries to offer you some advice, it can trigger those feelings of frustration and anger within you. Narcissistic people live with this on a daily basis. They cannot take on board any form of advice because they believe that they're always right, that nothing is ever their fault. They don't admit to mistakes. Therefore, they become offended when people try to help them, when people try to guide them. This can often lead them to going as far away as possible from the advice given to them. Children naturally do this. Some children can naturally do this with their parents. When your parent tells you that they don't like a boyfriend or girlfriend of yours, and then however many months or years down the line you realise that my parents were right. Genuine parents. Narcissistic parents tend to want to watch you suffer. Genuine parents will offer their children advice. Their children will go against that advice and learn the hard way and often think, they knew. When it comes to a narcissistic person, they will go against that advice. However, they don't recognise that the other person was trying to help them. They believe that the other person set them up to fail. The other person made them do something. And they don't learn from their mistakes. They just go around blaming and shaming everybody else. And the most painful part about this is they keep repeating their mistakes. They keep hurting themselves. With the arrogance, they have that charismatic charm. The grandiose have that charismatic charm. The vulnerable has that woe is me victim mindset. And they do carry an air of arrogance within that vulnerability. That vulnerable narcissist within that victim mindset of nobody has ever suffered quite as bad as they have. Share some bad news with a narcissist and they will tell you how they've suffered far worse than you. Share something you know about to a narcissist and they will either shame you or claim you are wrong in some way or talk about how they know far better. Tell a narcissist something you've achieved and they will tell you how they've achieved far more or how you only did it because you got a helping hand from them. Narcissistic people tend to have all the confidence, however they lack the competence. Therefore, they're forever moving from one person to the next for fear of exposure. Some narcissistic people can hold down a job for years. Some narcissistic people have to move from one job to the next because it's their charismatic charm or their victim plays that got them the job, but they don't have the capabilities of doing it. So they're forever trying to prove themselves as superior and forever running away before people can expose them for who they truly are. That grandiosity, they're seeking that external validation. Therefore, they often only do for others in order to gain something in return, even if that gain is just praise, eternal gratitude. Not all narcissistic people will ruin a special occasion. Some narcissistic people, especially in the love bombing stage, will go all out on a special occasion. They're expecting that admiration and that praise and that gratitude, and they will use it against you forevermore. What about when I did this for you? When a narcissistic person doesn't get the validation they believe they're entitled to, this hurts them, this causes them that anguish within them. This often leads to them sulking or falling silent, those childlike mind games in order to get the validation that they believe they're entitled to because they're seeking that excessive attention. It hurts them when they're not getting the attention. Whether that's the grandiose narcissist that's going all out to be bigger and better than everyone else, or the victim narcissist that's always suffered far worse than anybody else. There's plenty of reasons why people go around seeking attention, and there's plenty of reasons why people hide away from attention. Narcissistic people need that attention in order to feel better about who they are as a person. And if they cannot get that positive attention, this is when they'll go after you. This is when they'll provoke you and bait you and wind you up and get you going to gain that reaction from you. One, so they can blame you for reacting to them. Look at the state of you. What's wrong with you? Are you having a bad day? And two, so they can feel valid. That they're still important. Their words still matter to you. They can still get to you. They're preoccupied with those fantasies. Their own fantasies. They live in that little fantasy world. And we can all do this from time to time, whether we're believing in another person's lie or whether we are trying to achieve something. So we've got our goals set and you're in that kind of imposter syndrome mind because you're not there yet. You're just climbing the stairs one by one to get yourself there, and you can get knocked back a couple of times as we're learning and growing and developing to reach that goal. And then when we've reached that goal, we usually set another so that we've got something to aim for. So we can all sort of live in that fantasy world. We can all meet someone and arrange in a healthier relationship that one day we'll get married, one day we'll have children. And at that point, yes, it is a dream, it is a fantasy. However, two genuine people are working towards that goal. When you're with a narcissist, you're working towards that goal, and the narcissist is just sabotaging you each step of the way. Narcissistic people sell people illusions, the false belief of who they are, the false belief of what life will be like with them. And we all know how painful it is when that illusion is ripped from under us. We have a hint, but we don't know what it is. And then we have to work through all the pain, the realization of the reality when it hits us. So with a narcissist, they're living with that fantasy within themselves. They're constantly selling people different stories and constantly trying to make sure that people don't discuss with each other to reveal who the narcissist is. So it causes them that inner turmoil because they never reach their aim. They haven't got that aim. They never take responsibility for anything. And when you've got nothing to be responsible for, it can actually cause you that pain because there's nothing to get up for. And they're exploitative. So they can never trust, they can never truly build a trustworthy relationship with another person. They can't believe that others are being genuine with them because they're not genuine with other people. They can't believe that other people would be loyal to them because they're not loyal to other people. And due to their exploitative behaviour, they've got secrets to hide and they're running around trying to hide those secrets because they fear exposure. Yes, you can have that narcissist that's living in that much of a fantasy world that they genuinely don't recognise it. They 100% just have no clue, and you can stand there and listen to them sometimes and think, can you hear yourself? You can have another narcissist that knows full well what they're doing and they're running around trying to cover their tracks. We can all do stuff that we're not proud of, that perhaps we wouldn't like that moment that someone was to find out that we've done, especially when we're young and we're learning. Narcissistic people will find that information out about people to use against people, to control people to get their own way. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments. Narcissistic people have many weaknesses. Any you noticed, please add those into the comments also. When it comes to a narcissist's weak points, you actually want to avoid these. You want to avoid triggering these because this can cause a narcissistic injury, which can lead to narcissistic rage. And there is no winning with narcissistic people, which is why no contact or limited contact is always best. Recognising who they are as a person, recognising the games they play and no longer playing with them. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to, I have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.